Imagine being stranded in the most desolate place on Earth with no way to contact the outside world, no supplies, and a ship that's been destroyed. This is the true story of Ernest Shackleton and his crew who survived an Antarctic nightmare against all odds. Their story isn't just one of survival, it's about leadership, determination, and the will to never give up. In 1914, British explorer Ernest Shackleton set out on an ambitious mission across the Antarctic continent. His ship, the Endurance, was specifically designed for this perilous journey, but things took a dramatic turn almost immediately. What started as a journey of exploration turned into one of the greatest survival stories ever told. In January 1915, the Endurance became stuck in pack ice, unable to move forward. Despite efforts to free the ship, the ice surrounded them, and by November 1915, the ice began to crush the ship. Shackleton's team of 28 men was now stranded in the frozen wilderness of Antarctica. No communication, no rescue in sight. The harsh conditions were unimaginable: freezing temperatures, endless ice, and no means of escape. Yet, Shackleton remained calm and focused, determined to get his men to safety. For months, Shackleton and his crew camped on the drifting ice. They hunted seals for food, used their limited supplies to build shelters, and lived through constant danger. The men's spirits remained high, partially due to Shackleton's leadership, which kept them motivated and hopeful. But the ice wasn't kind, and in April 1916, after the ice had drifted far enough north, Shackleton made the difficult decision to attempt the impossible: to reach civilization. Shackleton and 5 of his men set out in a small 22-foot boat. They faced an 800-mile journey across the most dangerous stretches of ocean in the world, the Southern Ocean. With freezing temperatures, monstrous waves, and constant storms, the crew battled exhaustion and despair. For 16 days, they fought for survival in that tiny boat. Finally, they made landfall on South Georgia Island, a remote whaling station. But the journey was far from over. Shackleton and 2 of his men now had to cross the rugged, snow-covered mountains of the South Georgia Island to reach the whaling station. This was an incredibly dangerous crossing. Without the proper gear or supplies, they made their way through the mountains in grueling conditions. Finally, they reached the station and secured help for the rest of the crew. Shackleton returned with a rescue party to save his men who had been stranded on the ice for over 2 years. In a miraculous feat of endurance, Shackleton brought every single man back to safety. Not one life was lost despite the nearly impossible odds. Shackleton's Endurance expedition was a mission that ultimately failed in the terms of its original goal to cross Antarctica, but what Shackleton achieved instead was the impossible. He kept his crew alive, safe, and together in the face of utter catastrophe. His leadership, resilience, and refusal to ever give up remains one of the greatest examples of human endurance in history. He proved that it's not always about reaching your goal, it's about how you face adversity and push forward no matter how dire the circumstances.